Cotleigh Brewery, Barn Ale, Premium Ale.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. I wasn't going to review another beer, but it's so hot that I just thought I can absolutely murder a beer. And I've had this sat in the fridge, and it's one of the ones from the Cotleigh Brewery in Somerset. And it's a premium ale, not really the type of beer for this type of weather, but curiosity has got the better of me, and I want to try my new Cotleigh glass out. So there you go. Oh fuck me, them dogs across the road, they start barking at 4 o'clock in the morning, sets our dogs off. Honestly, it is pandemonium. Welcome to the shameless estate. Anyway, this Cotleigh Brewery, the Cotleigh Brewery was a recent discovery by me, and I have to say I did try their Old Buzzard ale, and it absolutely blew me away. If you watch the video of that, you'll see how good it was. It was absolutely amazing. It was a 10 out of 10, a real standout traditional British ale. And I decided this lot know what they're doing, so I got some more of their stuff. And this is the Barn Ale Premium Ale. Now, I don't know much about the brewery. All I know is they're in Somerset. They do a really nice range of traditional British beers. Some of them really do sound amazing, and if they're anything like the Old Buzzard, then they're going to be really good. And they have a theme running through all their beers, and it's all like birds of prey. So this is Barn Ale. Of course, Barn Ales are birds of prey, Old Buzzards are birds of prey, etc. They do Ospreys, they do an Osprey Ale, and some others that have got, there's a bird theme running through the whole lot. They come from a county that was renowned for its cider.
I am a cider drinker. I drinks it all on the day.
And to produce beer as good as that Old Buzzard is no mean feat. And apparently the local pubs around the brewery do serve this on cask, and I can only imagine how good it is, because if it's anything like the bottles, it's going to be amazing. And I'm really hoping this doesn't let me down, because at the moment, on the strength of the Old Buzzard, Cotleigh are turning out to be one of my favourite brewers. So let's investigate this beer. Right, it's a 500ml bottle. It's called Barn Ale Premium Ale. It doesn't really give a description of what type of ale, it just says Premium Ale. So I'm going to sort of assume that it's an ESB. It's 4.5%, which is, I think, what the ABV was on the Old Buzzard. The description sounds really good. Cotleigh Brewery is committed to producing outstanding beers, continuing a 200-year-old brewing tradition in Wilverscombe, Cotleigh. The brewery isn't actually in Cotleigh, it's in Wilverscombe. Cotleigh has become one of the most successful award-winning independent brewers in England, producing around 2 million pints of beer each year. Now, if you're producing 2 million pints of beer each year, you've got to be doing something right. Barn Ale is a copper-bronzed ale and has a superb malty taste with hints of toffee, nut and vanilla with a gentle sweet finish. How can you resist that? And then blah blah blah. It's got, oh, what's this? Cotleigh Brewery supports the Hawk and Owl Trust, which is a recognised UK charity dedicated to conserving birds of prey and their habitat. So that is why they've got that theme running through their beers. Excellent, I'm all for that. Birds of prey, what harm did they ever do? unless you're a mouse or a rabbit or a small dog. Anyway, more on that later. Let's get this beer open. Right, as it was with the other Old Buzzard, it is just a plain blue cap. I will stick that in the collection, and then when I'm old and grey, I will scratch my head and wonder where that came from. So, into the Cotleigh glass goes the Cotleigh beer. Now, I've put this down myself as an ESB, but they've got it as a premium ale. So, let's see what gives. This is chilled, it's come out of the fridge. They suggest storing it at room temperature, but serving it chilled if it's a hot day, which is more or less what I've done. Oh, again, masses and masses of chocolate and toffee and nutty aromas. This is smelling very much like the Old Buzzard, which, to be honest, if it tastes like that, I'm really not going to complain. In fact, it does look a hell of a lot like the Old Buzzard. Now, it looks very dark. It almost looks like a mild. But if I hold that up to the light, it is a very dark brown. It's almost like a brown ale. And they've called this premium ale. I've, in my head, deduced that to mean an ESB. But this is looking like a brown ale. So, who knows until we try it. So let's get it down the hatch. That is quite nice. That is quite nice. It's very similar to the Old Buzzard. It's got that big toffee malt running through it, almost bordering on chocolate type flavour. It's a very nutty.
It's a bit nutty.
Type flavour running through it as well. But that gives way to real hop bitterness on the finish. Though they say this finish is sweet. There is a touch of toffee on there, I will give them that, but it's also got a fair bit of what I interpret to be British hop bitterness. Earthy, and a little touch of black pepper on the top. It's really nice. Really good. It reminds me of the Old Buzzard, however, it hasn't got the body that the Old Buzzard had, and it hasn't got the massive toffee, chocolate and lovely nutty sweet flavours. This is more of a, I'd say it's got more of a bitter edge to it that's coming from the hops. However, it's still a good one. I'm really liking this. And despite the warm weather outside, this is quite refreshing. Now, I've taken it straight out of the fridge and I've been gassing to you for a while until I opened it. So it's been sat in this room, and this room is absolutely sweltering at the moment, but it has warmed up a touch and it's giving off some absolutely fantastic aromas and flavours. And I think this is the perfect temperature to drink it on a day like this. Certainly in the winter I'd be having this at room temperature, but I'm still getting all the flavours, and it is chilled, bordering on cold. It's really nice, and as I say, it just lacks the body that the Old Buzzard's got. There was a little touch of coffee on there as well. It's very, very faint, and it could possibly be dark chocolate that I'm getting, but it's really nice. It's well balanced too, I will give it that. And all in all, that adds up to a very nice pint indeed. So what's the verdict on this? Yeah, it's really good. However, I will say I did prefer the Old Buzzard. This hasn't bowled me over like the Old Buzzard has, but it's still good. It reminds me of a cross between a best bitter and a brown ale. Now, I'm getting the nutty and the sweet flavours that you would get in a typical brown ale, but I'm also getting quite a bit of hop bitterness on that too, which is where the best bitter comes in. And there is a touch of caramel, but it's all about the toffee malt. And I'm wondering whether this type of flavour, this toffee malt that they do, is a sort of a speciality or a theme that they've got going at Cotleigh. Whatever it is, it really does work. Really is a nice pint. And I've said it 1,000 times, but I really do think that people who are so het up and love their IPAs, which I'm not knocking. I do like my IPAs. I've reviewed a few today and they were really nice. But I really think they're missing out if they ignore stuff like this, because it's the other end of the spectrum. With the IPAs, it's all about the big hops, the big juicy American citrus hops. I think with this, you're just missing out, because this is all about the malt. And to be honest, as I'm talking to you, it's reminded me a little bit of an alt beer, a really good German alt beer. That nutty sweetness that I'm getting from it, it's really nice. And I have to say, Cotleigh are starting to become one of my favourite breweries, and I'm really glad this hasn't let me down, because I was completely bowled over by the Old Buzzard, and it's one of them ones where we have a real good, it's like the Williams brothers. When I first tried out the Williams brothers, it started basically when I was reviewing beer on YouTube, and I tried the Jim Marshall series, the Belgian IPA, the Pale Ale and the Lager, and they were all really good. And I was really surprised, and I thought, fucking hell, this lot can't put a foot wrong. They're doing some really good stuff. Then I tried the Frock and then some of their other flavoured IPAs, and they just went downhill rapidly. And I was really disappointed, because I really did like what they were doing, and then it just so happened that I got some beers and it just really turned me against them. And now they've gone down in my estimation, and I class them as a hit and miss brewery. So far, these haven't done that. They haven't let me down. Admittedly, it's only 2 beers in. I have got, I think, another 2 in the fridge. Keep an eye out for them. If it's anything like the other 2, then this is going to be one of my favourite British brewers. I'm going to give that a 9 out of 10, and for the simple reason it's not getting a 10 out of 10, it's because the Old Buzzard is better, in my opinion. But don't get me wrong, this is fantastic. So I'm going to give it a 9 out of 10. I'm definitely going to recommend it. Get yourselves on Beers of Europe, Cotleigh Brewery, check out their beers. And remember, beer is working class champagne.